Hey everybody, Carter here, or Juju1313, whichever you prefer. We're going to take a closer look at this SMF Sneaky Mofo Double Gunner Grip, abbreviated DGG, with Ranger Green scales and a stone-washed drop point blade. Yep, that's one thing Striders are known for, really long names, especially when you get into Tiger Striped Titanium, or I'm sorry, Flame Titanium, Tiger Stripe Blade, 3/4 ground drop point, Tonto. You know, it gets pretty crazy with the names. But real quick, so this is the SMF, so this is a large size folding Strider. It has S35 VN steel on the blade here, as is marked right there. Full flat ground, or close enough. Stonewash blade, draw point, like I mentioned before. Typical Strider, super thick stock blade with the double gunner grips. So it has the G10 here, all milled from one piece, like usual. And then the titanium on this side. You can see that it's got a honeycomb pattern milled into it. Makes it really, really grippy. A lot of people call these pocket shredders. However, I haven't had too much trouble with them. They're going to wear your pockets out more than the non-textured kind, but to me, this is no different than like Cold Steel or some of the other grippier G10 that they put underneath the clip. I mean, it's not all that bad, especially if you make sure that your clip is not super strong. You can see how I can easily bend out a space. So yeah, I really haven't had a problem. I've carried this a couple of times, and I've had double gunner grips in the past, and I have not had too much trouble tearing up my pockets. So, while it will be a little rougher on your pockets than other models, I think that kind of designation of it just tearing your pants apart, I think that's a little overblown, or at least in my experience. This has the new lockup. You can see how early that lockup is. No stick, super rock solid. Really, really nice. I may actually be selling this here in the future. I don't dig the stonewash for some reason. Just don't dig the stonewash. So this will probably be going out for sale. I've got another SNG double gunner grip that'll be coming. So I was thinking I'd sell this one to kind of fund that one. But yeah, anyways, back to the knife. Another thing that I wanted to point out on these, if you look on this side, you can see one of the characteristics of a Strider. And I bring this up because there are some fake double gunner grips out there. And one of the ways you can tell the difference is the look of the titanium side. You can see that the peaks on here are actually sanded. So you can see the bare titanium, whereas the valleys are bead blasted. But more importantly, you can see how the peaks and the sanding widen as you get towards the edge. That's because it's actually radiused, kind of like the concealed carry. You can see how it's slightly radiused. So as it radiuses, it makes these valleys or these peaks a little bit wider on the edge here. So when it's sanded, which I assume it's sanded to take some of the roughness off. I'd imagine after they actually mill this honeycomb pattern, it's far more aggressive on both sides. You can see how it's sanded on both sides. So what they do is they do all the milling, and then they bead blast it, and then they do the sanding on it. The fake ones out there, it looks like they do the sanding, assuming they do the same process, and then bead blast it. So you don't have these shiny kind of peaks. And you also don't have as much of a radius on those ones. It's more of a straight scale instead of being radiused. But yeah, this is just a cool knife. These double gunner grips, you just don't really see much out there like this. It's a very Strider-esque type handle. Very cool. It's also slim. It's very slim, and it brings the weight down a lot because you can see how thin the overall profile. I mean, this is an SMF. It's a very large knife. You can see how it's, you know, fairly thin, just a little bit thicker than the blade. And yet, because of the honeycomb pattern, still extremely strong. All of this is very tough stuff. You know, it's kind of like doing an I-beam. You can remove material to lose weight and actually make it stronger. You know, same idea with a fuller. Fuller-on blades. They're meant to make it lighter without compromising the strength whatsoever. And that's kind of the same principle with this honeycomb. It allows it still to be strong, and yet you can reduce the weight a lot. And I bring that up because with a lot of Striders, but especially this one, a common reaction when I give it to people is they are amazed at the weight. You know, and not saying that this is some 4-ounce knife. I mean, it's got a huge thick blade. It's a very robust, strong design, and it's a 4-inch blade. But every time I hand it to somebody, they say, wow, that's a lot lighter than I was expecting. You know, they really thought it would be a lot heavier. And so that's one thing where Strider kind of excels. There's a lot of people and a lot of companies making huge overbuilt knives. And to go along with it, it's huge overbuilt weight. You know, there's not a ton of engineering involved to say, I want to keep it super strong, overbuilt and robust, but I want to make it as light as possible. A lot of makers simply say, okay, I'll just double or triple the thickness of the slabs, or double or triple the thickness of the blade and call it good. Then you end up with this brick in your pocket, which some people like, and I like those. But, you know, I have to give respect to Strider for actually making one of the strongest overbuilt knives, but still, you know, engineering it in a way to get your maximum strength while keeping it as light as possible. So definitely cool. All right, I'll do a comparison between this and a regular Lego SMF, just so you can see the difference in case you're trying to decide which one to get. It might help you decide. All right, so I'll do that next. See you guys.